Hello and welcome to Space Shark Teaches. I'm Sean from Space Shark Studios, and I'm here to teach you GD Script in Godot 3.1. Let's get started.
In this lesson, we are going to be adding physics materials to our game. And that will do things like control bounciness, as well as friction and other such things. So let's begin. First off, I'm going to once again go over how to control in 3D. You hold down the right click on your mouse, and then you use WASD to fly around. You can hold Shift to go faster, but otherwise it is WASD. All right, and with that said, we are going to fly around, get back a little ways, and we are going to make our play space larger, as well as add the other two corners. So to start, let's go ahead and open up our floor and make this mesh instance bigger. So do that out to 40 by 40, and click on our collision shape, click on the box shape, and make this 20 by 20, because remember that's 20 from the center. It's like the radius. So now our play space is bigger. We need to Control S to save, and then we need to go into these walls and do the same thing. So mesh instance, click on that, set that to 40, and then collision shape, set the Z to 20. And that will keep everything big. Now, in order to move the walls, I'm going to press W so that you get the X, Y, Z controls. And I'm going to move these out to the sides. Now remember to click on this snap mode so that it stays snapped. Then you click on the next one and you move it out to the side as well. And now we are going to select both of these, and we are going to duplicate by using Control D, and then we are going to press E to go into rotate, and we can rotate both of them together like that, and now we have a full floor. Now we have the problem of, if we click on our camera and do preview, we're inside. So if we went right now and pressed play, the ball can go off the screen. So it's still in here, but we need to pull the camera back. So to do that, get out of preview. Let's go ahead and press W again. Scale it back, scale it up, and just keep clicking preview until you get a good version that you want. And you can go pretty high up before you're really out. There we go. So that looks good. You can scale it, or you can move it down, angle it down if you want. But for right now, we're going to keep it like that. You can also do some real fun stuff, like put an orthogonal and then it's messed up. You have to go and change a whole bunch of stuff for orthogonal to work. Let's go ahead and keep it on that. Make sure and click current on in case we add future cameras. So now we have a full play space. You notice we have things like it can fly off the screen and do all stuff like that. That's what we're going to be fixing with this physics. So to start, we are going to be adding a physics material to our floor. So to do that, we click on floor, and physics materials are added to physics bodies, which makes sense. So for that, it is going to be added onto the static body of the floor. So click on the physics material and do new physics material, and then click on it again to open up these options. Now the first thing we're going to do is play around with the bounciness. So bounciness goes from 0 to 1. So we're going to turn it to 1, and then we're going to go and move the ball up a bit so we can watch the bounciness. Now, something I didn't cover last time that we're going to do right now is going to be turning the camera's shadows on. Or not the directional light, sorry. So under here in light, we do shadows and we do enable. And so now you can see here is the shadow for the ball. And once we're done with that, we can go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead and angle the shadow a little bit more so we can see it better. So this way, when we're going and previewing, you can see the height of the ball. And let's go ahead and turn the energy down a bit so it's not as bright on these walls, and then we can see what we're doing. So now when we drop it, you can watch as the bounciness really kicks in. So you can see it's just bouncing basically indefinitely. And you can play around with the bounciness if you want. We can do things like add on absorbent, which will watch. All of a sudden we're not bouncing anymore because it's absorbing that whole impact. We're going to keep bounciness on for right now. But now we're going to be working at trying to turn this basically into a pool table. So to do that, we need to turn bounciness off. We're going to make the friction lower. But actually we're going to show one thing, which is that friction is really high right now. And even if bounciness is off and absorbent is on, no matter what, like friction of 1, we're still going to be going forever. It never really slows down. And that's because we're dealing with a ball. Now to show you friction in action, we need to go to our ball, click on Mesh Instance. Let's go ahead and change this. Well, first off, I'm going to save off this mesh, the material for it. So click on the drop down, save, and I'm going to call it, let's see, a new folder called Materials. And it is going to be ball underscore mat. So we know it's material. And this is because when you change these meshes to a cube, it removes the old material. But now we can easily go and drag this material back in so we can see it. We want to do the collision shape to a box shape as well. You can see that takes place. So now you can see it slides a bit and it stops. That's because the friction is on there. So the floor physics, and I think I might have accidentally, nope, there's no physics material here, so let's add physics onto there, and friction of 1. And so you see the frictions cause each other to not really slide as well as you would think. You can go and do things like turn this onto rough, turn this onto, or this is already on rough, and that'll increase the collision between both of them, the number of points. And so you get into stuff like that where it's very frictionful. We're going to turn the ball back because we want this to be a ball. We want it to roll around. So give it back its sphere mesh, its material, sphere shape. And you'll notice that the friction doesn't really do anything still. And that's because on a sphere, even if you have friction turned up for everything, a sphere is only touching at one point at any given time. And so what that means is that it's not really dragging as much as it would if it was a cube or some other shape. So the friction isn't really there. It's just going to kind of go as much as it wants to. We can do some things to fix this. So stuff like damping. So you can see damps the rotational force because as you saw, it was rolling. So we can go and do something like 1 and see if that has an effect. You can see it slows down now. So we're going to use that for part of it. Let's do it something like 2. And then we're going to go and say, all right, Mr. Floor, you're going to have a low, I think it was, or no, you stay like that. We don't need you to be rough because that doesn't really do anything, but we don't want bounciness. So now we're going to make the edges of the pool table, which means we go into the wall and we do want these to be bouncy. So for this, we want a wall bounce of about 0.6 and a friction, friction of 0 and a bounce of 0.6. So in order to show what this really means, let's go back to our ball material. Just double clicked. And let's add this texture onto it so you can see the image on there. So you can see it rolls and see how it goes and rolls backwards. So if we went to the wall and set the friction to 1, that's what caused it to go and look like it was rolling up the walls before. See how it kind of sticks to the wall a bit and goes up? That's because of the friction on the walls. If we turn that down to 0, it should just bounce backwards. So you still get a little bit of that friction, but it's not nearly what it was before. And so that is it on physics materials for right now. To do more, we can go ahead and update what the materials look like to give it kind of more of that sort of shape or the coloring that we want in a pool table. And I'll do that in between videos and then get back to you on more controls and more camera. All right, see you next time.
Thank you for watching Space Shark Teaches. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel and remember to click the bell to always stay up to date. Please also join us on our Discord, linked in the comments, and check out our other videos if you ever want to see what else we've been up to. Thanks again for watching, and we can't wait to see what you make.